All right, morning everybody. Appreciate you being here. Really wanted to have an opportunity to kind of wrap up spring. I know with the shortened practice and the way spring concluded, I just wanted to be able to get together with each of you and be able to kind of discuss big picture approach. I thought it was a very productive spring. We had 13 practices. I was really proud of our players for the work that they put in. It was fun watching both sides of the ball, special teams. A collective group of individuals all pouring into truly trying to be their best, trying to challenge each other, trying to compete. I thought that we talked a lot in January, and then even right before spring practice began, about an edge that was necessary, and to see that in how guys competed, see that in how guys upheld the standard, pushed themselves, and I thought that we really got a great glimpse of the potential of what this team can be. It's the continued growth as we go into summer workouts, as we go into preparing for fall camp. But I mean, I felt this football team in the way that they practiced, and there was not every practice was a great practice. We had specifically just thinking around that 10th practice, really wasn't what we wanted, and to see the way that they responded, the next 2 days was really I thought a great opportunity for them to show a little bit of that grit, a little bit of that desire and the edge that they're willing to bring together, and very competitive in that regards. We did have some guys that were banged up throughout, so there's still some I'd say unknowns, but still some opportunities that are going to be critical for guys to grow through this summer workouts, and as many times that they can get out, whether it's player led, whether it's times that we do get with coaches, just to be able to build that continuity, to continue to develop together, I think is going to be huge. And I went through all the exit meetings there this last week, and I really like where our guys are, and they get a little bit of a break right now. Our coaches are on the road recruiting. Obviously, I can't be on the road right now. So I've got some stops here in May on different booster events, and continuing to share about this team and where we're going. But really looking forward to the months that are ahead. We're working through. Have some. We've been able to add 2 additions officially to the program. In Jeremiah Wilson and Jaylen King. I'm excited about those guys coming and joining the program. I really think that there's probably a few more additions at a couple of positions, and excited about where that's heading as we're going into the summer months. But it's full speed ahead around here, and definitely excited about the steps that have been taken.
All right. Obviously, it's understandable what happened at the end of the spring of losing those practices. Is there? I think a lot of fans are asking: is there a way to get those 2 added to the fall, or is there any way to make up that time?
There's not, and I mean it's extremely difficult for everybody involved. That was affected by the tragedy, but and that was our focus, and just being able to. With our team, with everybody, just being empathetic to all that were for just everything that was going on around campus, and so we made the decision that we were going to conclude spring and move forward with our meetings, and as the guys were preparing the last week of school and finals this week. I definitely think that was the right decision to be made. Our guys did a really good job of coming in and putting in their own time, getting workouts, and kind of staying active through that last week. I do want them to take a little bit of time to take a deep breath. Some guys will be going home. Just time to refresh body, minds as we get ready for the sprint that's ahead. So we will not add to it the practice load of what we have, but we've got a great plan for this summer and being able to get the work that's necessary.
Chris, as you look at adding final pieces, is there a specific piece that you have to have, and also do you do it with the idea of 105, or do you not worry about that until the house settlements?
You know, and it's, the house settlement's there's so many dynamics that are still up in the air with potential roster what's that gonna look like? You know, we went into it with the approach of the 105, but, you know, understanding that there's gonna be some flexibility. So yeah, there are some areas where we could, you'll be fluid in just our roster count right now, and what we're looking at. There's a couple, you know, I think there's a couple of situations that could be, you know, great for what could add competition, add impact players at at a position, and we're definitely going to look at that. And you know, I think that you know, from what we saw this spring, there's a lot of excitement around our program about the guys that we have on this team. You know, but as you go through a season, you know, you want to put everybody in the best position to achieve, and you know, that depth, competition, you know, playmaking ability, you know, you're making sure you're finding the right guys that can bring that edge and desire to go be the best that this football team can be. Yeah, that's one of the things that we'll always evaluate, and so, you know, not to get into any, you know, real specific position, but we're evaluating all things.
Eric? You mentioned the guys you added. Jeremiah obviously has been a productive player. Was that a situation where you guys were looking to help the cornerback room, or is this, hey, there's a player that could really help our team?
Yeah, I mean, it had to be really the right fit. You know, in that, I'm excited about that group. I think we've got some really talented, you know, guys in the corner position. You know, there's versatility in where they can align and what they can do. Obviously, a lot of competition. But when you see, you know, Jeremiah, there's, you know, in twofold. When you know, he announced that he was going in the portal, you know, we really got a chance to look, study, you know, kind of go through all things of you know, what he was able to do, you know, this last year. Obviously, you know, Coach White was involved in his recruiting process, you know, up at when he went to Syracuse, and so there's familiarity of the young man, but even seeing just his growth, and then when he went in the portal, it was something that you know, we knew we wanted to pursue, and, you know, getting him here on campus, you get a chance to be around him in person. I mean, just his energy, you know, the work ethic that he has, the desire to come in and to be able to pour all that he has into this team. And, you know, he loved Florida State. He's loved Florida State his entire life, and you know, now getting a chance to end his collegiate career here as a Florida State Seminole, a guy that's been highly productive. You know, he is a football guy, and, you know, he's very active around the ball, throw his body around, you know, plays with high energy. I mean, really, you know, has a relentless kind of mindset in the game, and then, you know, he's been a great playmaker. So we're looking forward to what he brings to the corner position. And I think it was the right fit, and you know, had a relationship. Kai Bates and him had been training for years, and, you know, being able to kind of hear even Kai's perspective on him. You know, Coach White, you know, guys that have been around him. You know, just he was the right guy for you know, our cornerback room to be able to come in, and we're excited about you know, what that will do for that room, and seeing those guys continue to elevate.
Chris? With the offensive line group, you had a few guys dinged up throughout the spring. How difficult is it to judge what the projected vibe are?
Yeah, I mean, there's some challenging elements in that, and but, you know, I'm excited about the guys that we have, and you know, I really think that it's going to be, you know, a group that has, you know, great experience. It's a group that you know, I think has ability, size, strength, you know, all the key components, and, you know, now it's about, you know, developing that continuity. And so you know, as much time as they can you know, make this summer together, you know, I think it's going to be huge. But, you know, you're looking at a group that does have a lot of game experience. I mean, you can even look at, you know, you guys that have been here, whether it's, you know, Andre Otto, who, you know, is still very young in his career, but, you know, he got valuable game experience last year. He was thrown into the fire, you know, in that, and, you know, so it won't be new to him. I mean, he's a guy that, it just kind of comes on mind. You're seeing his confidence in all things, and he knows that, you know, there's guys in the room that are they're probably a little bit more experienced, but even just the way that him, Lucas, those guys have really done a good job in taking advantage of opportunities this spring. I think they got a lot of confidence here moving forward. But yeah, I mean, we do need to maximize every day, trying to build that continuity. But I do believe that group is going to be potentially one of the great strengths of what this team can be.
Peter?
Coach, adding Jaylen King, coming from next year's school and with his experience and what he established over there, why do you feel like you want to bring like another veteran QB in that room, and what do you feel like he's a fit there?
Well, I mean, it's really all elements of that situation. Jaylen actually came to camp here when he was coming out of high school, and I when his name went into the portal, he was somebody that I remembered seeing him in camp. Obviously just you had great arm talent, movements. He went to play at a smaller level school. Just in regards to his recruitment, and he got 2 years of experience under his belt. There's still some areas where he knows he needs to grow, he needs to develop. He really kind of embraces the chance that he has to come in and yes, compete, but also knowing that he's got an extra year, a redshirt year available. I mean, ideally, that's what we want to do with him, and that's really what he wants to do. But he's going to come in this summer and hit the ground running and try to learn everything that he can. But it just he wants to come in and be able to pour everything he has into this program, and he thinks it'd be a great addition to the quarterback room. I'm really pleased with the guys that went through the spring. I thought that was one of the highlights of our spring ball, was watching that quarterback room. With Tommy, Brock, Kevin. I thought all those guys were had great springs, and so you're seeing their progression. But we've had the last few years, we've had 3 scholarship quarterbacks, on the roster, and that, you get down and we've had to use them at times, and it got down to that level. And so being able to have that, another talented young man in that room, I think is going to provide, great depth. It's going to be able to provide great competition, and so I'm excited about, Jaylen and obviously the short-term impact within the roster, but also the long-term potential of his growth.
You were asked about the wide receivers, but is it more of a concern about you did lose some numbers at the end of the spring, or is it more needing more playmakers in that group?
Yeah, I mean, well, we were over at the number. I mean, there had to be some real conversations, and at the end of the day, like that was really nothing has happened. I could say it was just absolutely unexpected. At that position, you evaluate. It's a challenge, it's competition. It's you got to go do it too. And it's I'm really pleased with some of the newcomers that joined the program in January, and I really believe that the growth of guys that have been here. I mean, you look at last year. I mean, we had 3 freshmen that played, and you're seeing steps from them. Obviously we've added some experienced guys that have come into the room that we believe have very, very high ceilings of what they can do, how they can lead. We're going to continue to build upon the competition, but within that room, and if there's an opportunity to add an experienced playmaker, then yes, I mean that's something we'll look at. But I think we also have a lot of versatility when you look at our tight ends room, and you look at the way that can all kind of you'll be guided in personnel utilization. I mean, I think there's a lot of flexibility that we will have, and I'm excited about just the skill position players that we have here. So we'll continue to evaluate all things, but really when it came to receiver, I mean, we were over. So I mean, that was going to be like I said, some real conversations.
We got time for a couple more. All right.
When you mentioned the tough conversations, I was just curious, do you it feels like there's a new reality in college football now, but obviously with all the player movement, but also from the pressure to win it quickly and all that. It seems like in the old days, like players might have 4 or 5 years to figure it out. Is that speeding things up, and has that been an adjustment for you as a head coach?
Yeah, I mean it's there is yes, everything needs to be done today. you know, and that is a part of it. But, you know, you still look at players and growth and development and, you know, things that sometimes just take a little bit of time. And, you know, I've seen as much of that now as ever before. How guys deal with that pressure is again, critical. And, you know, we've had guys that have, you come in with big expectations and, you know, all the things, and, you know, if it doesn't go, if it's not an immediate, you know, return on that, then, you know, how they handle the outside within their families, within, you know, everybody telling them what it should be and what it should look like. And, you know, I've seen guys that handle it really well and, you know, come in and had, you know, great, you know, early starts to their career, and I've seen guys that haven't. And, you know, if you allow that, you know, to say the pressure of it, if you allow that to tighten you up, if you're not able to go play free, if you're not able to have fun doing this, it's hard to go out there and be your best. And so, you know, that's something we try to, and I'm really trying to take a very active role in just helping guys through the process, because you know, you're going to see growth. You're going to see, you know, guys that, you know, if they're enjoying doing what they get to do and playing this game and competing, you know, and really being able to block out, you know, some of those, you know, outside distractions. You know, some of the expectations can be a distraction. I mean, if you allow them to be, it's, you know, go and enjoy this, have fun playing. I mean, you know, yes, there's a lot that can pour onto you, but this is, I mean, you've worked your butt off to put yourself in this position to be at this place, and have fun doing it too. And so that's one of the, yeah, I've watched, you know, guys that have taken great strides, and, you know, it's also being able to help guys along, you know, with their own, you know, management of you know, of what that looks like. And so, yes, you got to win now, and that's part of it. I mean, that's the world that we all live in. But, you know, being able to see guys grow and fulfill the potential that they have, I mean, it's exciting to be a part of. And you know, we've been able to see that with guys. I mean, you know, you look at, you know, Azari and Josh getting drafted last weekend, and, you know, both those guys came through the program. Azari, you know, he played as a freshman. He didn't start. I mean, he only started really 1 year. You know, but he was somebody that he got better each and every year. He's prepared, ready. He goes into a great situation. You know, Josh Farmer, really same thing. And you know, I got to talk to both those guys after they got drafted, and what was exciting was to see their joy in where they were getting to go, because they knew it was the best fit for them. I mean, because you can get drafted to any team, but when you go into the right situation with the right staff, the right style of play, you know, it fits their skills. And so, I mean, it was really, those were two guys that came through the program, and, you know, some other guys that got opportunities as free agents. And you know, it's just, you know, all that work, the growth, development. I mean, that's how you want to see it, you know, kind of pay off.
Bob.
Coach Markeston tweeted over the weekend that he was going to go in the portal, and in the end doesn't go in the portal. Can you share some of the conversations that you've had with him about what he's weighing and how he's deciding what he wants to do with his football career?
Yeah, you know, I mean, we're excited for Markeston to be a part of this program, and you know, obviously he's had a unique journey. I mean, just, you know, he's had his challenges from when he first got here. You know, not really being available for the better part of that first year. You know, and the work that went into that. You know, being here, being a good role player. You know, he had some impact there early. You know, he left. You know, going to another school, and you know, didn't quite work out necessarily how he maybe wanted it to, or envisioned it being. And you know, there's a lot that goes on into you know, these thought process. And you know, Markeston's got 1 year, and he wants it to, you know, wants to be the best that it can possibly be. And, you know, you can go through the ebb and flow of emotions of you know, where you think that is, what you think that is. And you know, I'm grateful that he's here, and he's going to be a part of this program. I think, you know, we've got a chance to have a really dynamic you know, tight end room. I think Markeston definitely you know, brings tremendous, you know, value and playmaking ability to that room. And so you know, I think it's come together the way it needs to, and, you know, excited to have him a part of it.
All right, last one, Chris.
Your running back room is pretty deep, but what would it take for you to add one? What's the kind of player that would help that room be something different?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, really just the right fit. And you know, I really like the guys that we have. I like the you know, the ability, the potential. You know, but just like in all things, when you it would need to be somebody that has a, an ability to come in and make an immediate impact, but also it's got to be well-rounded, and whereas somebody that values all parts of the game, whether it's what they do with the ball in the hands, protection, obviously catching the ball out of the backfield, special teams impact, every bit of it. But we've got a really good room, and I think Roydell, missed a little bit of time in the spring. I think he's taken some major steps. I think he's a great leader. Jaylen Lucas, I love what I'm seeing from him. Just to be able to come back off of that injury, what this year could look like. And then you look at the young backs. I think all those guys have great potential. Keziah Holmes missed a better part of this spring with injuries, and so like I told him, that's a big year for him, but he's got to go out there and do it. And so but when you look at the collective group of guys, I think it's some talented players, a lot of versatility, and but if there's a right fit that's out there, then obviously we'll look to continue to enhance and improve this roster with impact players.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you guys.